Best action slash sci-fi screenplay. I do like doing flashbacks, but I love cliffhangers. In all my stories I write, there's always going to be a twist in it. Very
Please don't
focused on what's going on. Contest winner and a best horror. So it was pretty cool. It was best action slash sci-fi screenplay. I do like doing flashbacks, but I love cliffhangers. In all my stories I write, there's always going to be a twist in it. Very
Please don't
focused on what's going on. Contest winner and a best horror. So it was pretty cool. It was best action slash sci-fi screenplay. I do like doing flashbacks, but I love cliffhangers. In all my stories I write, there's always going to be a twist in it. Very
Please don't
focused on what's going on. Contest winner and a best horror. So it was pretty cool. It was best action slash sci-fi screenplay. I do like doing flashbacks, but I love cliffhangers. In all my stories I write, there's always going to be a twist in it. Very
Please don't
focused on what's going on. Contest winner and a best horror. So it was pretty cool. It was Hey guys. So today in this video, I'm going to be finishing up the erotica that we started last time. So going forward, I decided, since this person was very patient with me, that I'm going to turn this into a longer than 5 pages, right? So the person came to me on Etsy, they bought the story, and the story on there says 5 pages double spaced is what you're buying for $35. But because I was sick and I wasn't feeling good, luckily he came in and he said, hey, you take your time, no problem. Get it done when you can, like no rush for real, just heal up. So I'm like, dude, that's sick. All right, you know what? I appreciate that. So I'm making a longer story. So here we're calling it My Sir Lancelot. He wanted it to be in a girl's point of view for the girl. So instead what I did was I made a prologue for the story. Rough draft still, I haven't edited yet, but as we go forward, the prologue is I'm setting up the scene before the story starts. So they're going to get a little bit longer of a story in the sense that I added a whole bunch more in here. As you can tell, let me get my chat up real quick, guys, on my phone in case you guys say something. I want to be able to see it. But yeah, so I'm thinking that, like, the person was super cool. I really wasn't feeling good, like, at all. Like, yeah, it was pretty bad. So yeah. Perfect. Okay, cool. My phone is dying, so hopefully it doesn't die too fast. So again, this is a Guinevere and Sir Lancelot type of story, in the sense that they fall in love, but I kind of did a twist on it where they were already kind of like in love as kids. Then she meets or Arthur, and everything from there goes on from there. So I'll do a quick reading of the story if you guys want. So prologue, it's called My Sir Lancelot, prologue. The dark is dark. The night is dark. That's what I was supposed to say. Well, see? There you go. Very first thing I messed up. The night is dark with a brisk breeze that brushes through the dirt. Visibility is zero, but they push on. Lancelot. I put Lancelot because he wanted Guinevere and Lancelot, so I'm just going to use their names and see if he likes it. I do edit the stories if they want me to change anything. So we'll continue. Lancelot stops outside the estate's gates. The estate is the largest in the village, able to fit at least 5 families. He slowly opens a gate and steps through, checking his corners. Clear. Him and Arthur and his 4 men move through the courtyard to the estate. With so many entrances, they have to choose one and sweep the building together. Guinevere has to be close. Arthur's leading this rescue mission. Usually, He has his men for this type of raid, but he doesn't trust anyone else to get his wife out of there alive. He's always been the hero, but since he's been busy ruling his kingdom, he hasn't been out in the field. Arthur picks a lock to the house and enters. Lancelot and the 4 other men follow closely behind. Arthur stops his men from proceeding forward. An enemy is patrolling. Arthur takes out his silenced pistol and shoots the enemy. Lancelot slides behind the body and catches it before it hits the ground. He carefully sets him down as they proceed forward. I'm going to put floor since they are... did I say they're in this state? Pixel, yeah. So since they're... So that's one thing that you got to know is that when you are in the house, and like even for script writing, if you're outside, it's a ground. If you're indoors, it's a floor. Arthur, are you trying to get your wife killed? His body would have echoed through these halls. They would have known we were here, and they would have taken her life, Lancelot says. Arthur ignores him. Lancelot pauses in disbelief. The long corridor seems never-ending. The marble ground echoes with every gentle step. At this rate, the enemy could hear them. Lancelot hears movement in one of the rooms. He tries to turn the knob, but it's locked. Arthur kicks it in, alerting everyone in the estate. They clear the room, then Lancelot pins Arthur to the wall. What the hell was that? Now they know we're here. Do you not want your wife to come back alive? Lancelot says. The other 4 soldiers put the guns to Lancelot's head. Stand down. I said stand down. Arthur says. My H button doesn't work that well, sorry. His men back off and secure the room. I do want her back, very much so, but also need to make sure we stop this enemy once and for all. This is the 2nd time she's been taken, and there won't be any more. Now fall in line, soldier. So remember, when I got this story, they wanted it to be a modern day Lancelot Guinevere type of story. So this is the modern day version where they're soldiers and they are trying to rescue her after being kidnapped. I brought Arthur involved so we can see kind of how he is not really there for her, right? I'm making it where you can see that like throughout the story he's kind of like doing these things, but he's more worried about stopping this enemy than he is saving his wife. And Lancelot the whole time is worried about her safety, which will be more apparent when we get to the actual story, since this is only the prologue. Again, I added more for the story because I was sick, and he was very kind and allowed me to take my time with the story. So instead of 5 pages, he's getting much more. So we'll continue. So I put Lancelot falls in line and follows Arthur back into the corridor. They check each room they come upon, but now they can hear yelling and footsteps running all around them. Arthur uses his hand signal to split his men up into pairs to roam the estate. Arthur and Lancelot stay together and climb into the next set of stairs to the 3rd story. Gunshots ring in their ears. The other soldiers are fighting the enemy combatants, distracting them so Arthur and Lancelot can sneak by. They come upon a pair of giant, elegant doors. The master room lies behind. Arthur gets a call in his earpiece from the headquarters. Sir? Sir? What is it, Arthur? We're being attacked. The kidnapping was a distraction. Your enemy upon our doorsteps. What are your orders, sir? Arthur and Lancelot stop at the master room. Lancelot signals him for him to open it. Arthur doesn't reply to either of them. He takes off his earpiece and puts his hand on Lancelot's shoulder. Get her to safety. She's your wife. She needs you. My kingdom needs me. There's no kingdom without a king. You can't do this again. She's a rare woman. You need to be her hero. Save her. Return her to me. I'll be holding the enemies back from our gates. Arthur turns away and leaves. Lancelot is shocked. How can he abandon his wife? He turns to the door to see his enemy looking down upon him. Lancelot is caught off guard. He tries to lift his gun, but the man but fails. The man grabs the gun, bends the barrel, and punches Lancelot. Lancelot tries to fight back, but his enemy has him by the bulletproof vest. He takes it off and tackles the man. The man grabs him by the shirt and easily tosses him to the wall. Lancelot stands up with dust all over him, blood on his face, and his shirt ripped so much it's hanging by a thread. Sorry, my mouse also doesn't work, so I gotta scroll it down by the sides. Lancelot takes off his knife from the boot and attacks the giant man. They are both landing punches, missing punches, and getting beat up. Lancelot is able to get the upper hand by throwing the knife at the giant's knees, sending him to the floor. He moans out in pain until Lancelot gets him in a chokehold and holds it until the giant stops moving. Lancelot manages to get back to his feet, shirtless. He grabs his bulletproof vest and kneels by the door. He picks the lock and opens the door. He sees Guinevere handcuffed to the side of the bed. Her ankles are cuffed to the bed, while her wrists are cuffed behind her back. He enters and locks the door behind him. Guinevere, Guinevere, he says. So that's the prologue of the story. It's kind of setting up kind of the how much he cares about her, right? As you can tell by the story, he's kind of like really worried about her. He really like King Arthur, like stop, like you need to be there for her. Like as I put, she's a rare woman. So pretty much, you can tell that there's like a love connection. There's some kind of feelings already between Lancelot and her. And that'll play much more of a story here. So now what I'm going to write, I have to put into thought that, okay, so a woman is going to read it. That's who bought the story, right? A woman. So if she's going to be reading it, then I need to think about like, okay, what point of view from here? Like normally I like to keep it all singular, like, okay, it's going to be you the whole time, but we wouldn't tell the you portion in the prologue. So I thought, I'm a writer, right? I make my own rules. So doing that, I'm making it where, you know what? It's going to be third person right now, and then we're going to jump into second person. So now this point of view is going to be the you portion, right? The second person point of view. If you don't know second person point of view, if you go to the YouTube channel, I have a whole video about all sorts of point of views: first person, second person, third person, and the three that are in the third person point of view, which is limited, objective, and omniscient. I don't know how to say it, so the video probably sounded stupid, but whatever. So now that I have this, the story's going to begin here where it says, your hero, his gift. So pretty much it is an erotica, so it has to jump into that portion of the story. So with that being said, he is her hero, and he needs a gift, and it's going to be pretty much her body is the gift just because of what they wanted. And that'll be more of everyone's fighting, and I will probably add like in the background like gunshots echo, but they're just doing what they're doing. Or I can make it where pretty much he gets orders like, hey, the enemy's gone, we're going to set up a perimeter, let us know when you find her, kind of a thing. I think that might be a little bit easier in the sense that it's more realistic, and I like to do more realistic type writing when it comes to this type of stuff, even when it's like gunshots and fighting and he's just there, you know, in this erotica, right? So I'll make it where he kind of like separates. They do a perimeter, and as he's trying to help her. So yeah. All right. And here we go. So I'm going to mention Arthur here just in the sense that they are married, right? As just like in the story of Lancelot and Guinevere. they are married, Arthur and her, but she falls in love with Lancelot, and she ends up sleeping with Lancelot. And I hope you guys like my little border I made for this story. I try to make it like a knight and the queen there, and then of course the person wanted the handcuffs, so that's why those are there as well. Um, okay, let's continue this. I think the next part is she's gonna ask, or you ask him, where the king is, and he says he pretty much left to go and fight the enemy there, and she's like, really, like, he was right here, what's the difference gonna make between like 10 minutes, you know, like something realistic of like what they're thinking, like, okay then, sure. But you know, we'll see. So the next part I'll put is a um I'll make it right here still, like as if he just entered, right? Excuse me. Oops, spelled that wrong. Let's see. So I kind of wanted to continue where I left off. Pretty much, it says right here, this is where Lancelot kind of says something. So I just wanted where the door's open. What did I say? She's just handcuffed to the bed. So then pretty much, I'm gonna make it where he looks over, he sees it, he says her name, and then she pretty much responds to him. Nut deep down. Actually, I'm gonna do this. Watch. I'm gonna cut that. I'm gonna continue um, as if it started exactly where it left off. See, it says right here, Guinevere, he says, and then it begins, your hero. So usually the big white here usually means that it's like a new section of it, like a chapter or a new part of, or time gap or something. But this, for me, I'm gonna make it where it switches. So what I like to do also is I do this. This kind of gives it a sense of like, hey, this section ended, and now you're in like a new section. I kind of like the white, a little more white. Yeah. So it's kind of like a new section began here, right? And I kind of like that better. Why? I'll always be here for you, he tells you. The gunfire tells out the enemy must be getting beaten. You see Lancelot enter the room shirtless. Okay, hold on. We were going to cut this out. No. We'll cut this and like... Oopsies. We'll take this, cut it. Alright, there you go. So pretty much now I have his going here. Lancelot says, you see Lancelot enter the room shirtless. He's all beat up. And then it'll go, oh, Lancelot, I knew you'd save me. You say, I'll always be here for you, tells you. The gunfire seats, I don't want to say ceases because it hasn't stopped yet. The enemy must begin, but you wonder where Arthur is. Maybe, but deep down you know the truth. He's not there. So I'm kind of building it, the part that will lead to the erotica part, and that is she's gonna keep, or you are gonna keep thinking like, why is he always make excuses not to be to, or for him to be absent? He's never here, and Lancelot's always there. He's always saving. And then pretty much like when she goes to, he turns her around to take the cuffs off. She kind of turns back to him is what I'm gonna do probably by the end of this page, I want to say, and then she's going to pretty much take over, like kind of assume control of him. Like, hey, I'm your queen. You're gonna listen, and this is what we're gonna do. This is how it's gonna go down. So I think that's going to be really good for the story. Remember, when you're writing something like this, you want to kind of set it up in a not, without putting so much exposition in the story, right? This is kind of like, since it's a short story, you got to make sure every sentence, every word you use is very important, I want to say. So with that being said, I want to get to the part right before the erotica. So I'm going to lead it up there. And see how I go from there, because I want to set it up. I don't want to keep throwing so much exposition out there, but at the same time, it has to sound natural. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lead it where she is going to kind of start talking about their two history before King Arthur, before she became the queen. And with that being said, I'm thinking that this could be a good way to lead into the story, in the sense that she's going to be like, hey, like, we used to be a thing before King Arthur showed up, before I had to become the queen, you know, and you've always protected me and my family before you became a knight of the king to protect me, kind of a thing, you know. So it's kind of like that bond is there, and then we'll have whatever happens. And I think that is a good state to continue to lead up to the erotica part, to get them to the part where we add the handcuffs and the bed and all that other good stuff that they want and that they paid for. So I'm going to go to see how I can word it. Remember, guys, this is just the rough draft, okay? So it's not like it's supposed to be, this is not the final draft. This is not it. The rough draft, think of, as Jordan Peele would say, just think that you're just shoveling a bunch of sand into a sandbox to build a house, or to build a sandcastle. And once you have all the sand in there, then what? Then you start taking stuff away so you can get the finished product of the sandcastle. The castle will be left by itself, and all the extra stuff that you threw in there because you needed a foundation, then you start cutting it off, and then you create the castle. You create your story from that foundation. So with that being said, we're just going to shovel in sand and get the foundation made so we can get the castle made after the first draft is done. Okay, so let's see. Why is there always an excuse for him to be absent? What did I spell wrong? Oh, question mark. Okay. The next part I'm going to have to do is, let's see. Hold on real quick. Barber just messaged me back. Sweet. Yeah, so remember, you just, when you go forward, you just want to make sure that everything makes sense and is, if you're doing it in like real time, right? You want to make sure that everything is true to the story, true to the characters. Because if you don't do that, then it won't be believable. And I'm all about believable stories, unless unless you're doing fantasy or you're doing something else like on that manner where it's okay if you do that. But for the most part, yeah, you want to try to keep it realistic as possible. I always like to do that. I always make sure everything I do is realistic. But if I do like a horror or a thriller or anything like that, then yeah, I get it. It doesn't have to be exactly realistic. It doesn't have to be exactly perfect because, it's the genre that you're doing. But since this is a fantasy, we're just going to continue shoveling sand in there. Let's see. This angers you. The kingdom is strong enough to hold them back. Why is there always an excuse for him to be absent? again, rough draft. We're just gonna try to just throw stuff out there as much as possible. And then I'm gonna edit it. Right now, I'm just trying to get her to watch him. Again, it's not gonna be super duper in depth and detailed as of yet because I just want to again shovel this on there. Later on in the next draft, I'm gonna go in there and kind of edit exactly. So like when I say you see his pecs popping, his biceps bulging, so that's pretty much not very super descriptive of what I want to say, But I just need that in there so when I go and reread it and edit, I can see that like, oh, okay, so I need to go in there and chop that up, fix that up a bit to go forward with it. There's always room for editing, but again, you got to know when to release your story to the world. Think of your story as like a kid, right? As a teenager, as an 18-year-old. Once you're done editing it, as you're right now, you have a first draft. It's the newborn. And as you edit up until it's 18, then you just got to release it and let it do its thing and see how well he does in life or she does in life, right? And that's what your story is. It's just your child, and you got to release it when you're ready. But you have to be ready to let go at sometimes. You got to put it out there and get the critique and get that stuff. I tell everybody that that's what you got to do, to grow as a writer, as an author, as a person. Just, you need to take constructive criticism good. Don't be harsh about it. Don't get all butthurt about it. Just accept it because we all have to. But if someone's just coming at you and attacking you, then that's different. Then don't tolerate that. Don't tolerate that at all. You see his pecs popping, his biceps bulging. All right, let's see. Um, I'm not sure where I'm trying to go with the story. I kind of want it to be a little more like he is about to uncuff you, but then she goes, you move, he brushes against your breast, and then you guys make eye contact. I think this is kind of where she goes in for the kiss and he rejects it, saying like, "You're the queen. I can't do this." And then she's gonna go into being like, "It doesn't matter," like, and then she's gonna say her thing, right? Highness. Your Highness. Okay, so pretty much as you can see here, I'm already setting up, getting ready for that part of the story. She's watching him. He's doing all this stuff for her, helping her out and stuff like that. I already hinted, kind of like his lips look plump. It might have been from the fighting, but it's also how his lips are. You can still remember those lips caressing against yours as teenagers. So I already added a little hint of their history, right? So when you look at stuff like that, you want to be like, okay, it's not like throwing so much out there, like, oh man, as kids they did this and they did that, and yeah, etc., etc. You don't have that. What you're doing here is you're setting up for the future, right? You're doing a setup so there to be a payoff. So the setup was, you can remember his kissing as teenagers, and then you lean in for the kiss, he pulls away. Then she's gonna kind of be like, well, you're always the one that's there. You're the one that's always saving me. This. So then when you hear that, when you realize that, then you're kind of just like, he's kind of like, it's almost like a manipulation tactic for her, right? It's just kind of like reminding him, like, well, remember, like, you were always there for me. We were supposed to be together, and he can be like, well, I lost the battle for you against him, He's like, but I swore an oath to protect him and to protect you. And she's like, yeah, but you did. You done more than my husband will. Kind of like that. And then from there is going to jump into the erotica scene. And again, we're already on page, let's see, what page is this? This is 5 of 5. So I haven't even gone to the actual erotica part of the story, and we're already 5 pages in, and that's the minimum pages usually I write, or that's the, I guess that's the page limit of what I write for everybody. 5 pages minimum. Excuse me. 5 pages minimum. So with that being said, with that being known, now it's kind of like, okay, that's cool. So everything after this is extra, but it's also, I wanted to tell a really, really good story. And I love the medieval times era. I love the King Arthur, Merlin, Sir Lancelot, Guinevere. I love that story. I watched those shows, the movie with Clive Owen. I watched the TV show. I don't know what the guys' names are in that one, but I watched that as well. It's called Merlin, the show. And I love history. I love history, and I like to use history and make my own stuff. So doing this is kind of cool with the modern day look to it. So remember, whenever you write something, you don't want to put too much exposition. This right here is just the first part of the exposition. The next of it will kind of be mostly them talking, but it won't be like bad. It'll be like a natural talk. Like you want it to sound natural, the way it flows, the way people would really talk. And no one will be like, well, we were kids when you kissed me, and this. No, it's gonna, like, while they argue, she's just gonna bring these things up as like a manipulation tactic of like, well, this, and he's gonna be like, no, and she's like, but then, and then that's how we get to the part where he finally falls and caves in, and then they have their lustful moment, and then that's where the story will end there of like, they get word like, hey, perimeter's sort of checked. We're heading back in to assist you, and then he'll be like, no, I found her. She's getting cleaned up right now. Whatever. We'll be down momentarily, and then it's just gonna end like that. I think that's the best way to do it. That's the best way to end the story, where he walks out holding her maybe in her hands or carrying her or whatever, maybe her ankle's hurt, I don't know, but either way they're going to be embraced while there's a promo, like holding her hand, or he's going to like have her kind of like coming out, whatever, and then it's going to end with them or them hopping on a helicopter and then they're leaving, something like that, just to make it more of like it was a one-time thing, but then like the last stare between the two while she takes off in the plane, he's just going to look up at her and maybe end like that, where it's just like, and like what you did was what you needed, but you don't want to know what the consequences are later down the line. Kind of like that, especially if it's a Guinevere or Lancelot type of thing, where Lancelot does end up dying and stuff like that. So I think it's a good story. Story, not this. This one's good too, because I'm writing it. But anyways, guys, so I do creative writing lessons on this YouTube channel. So don't forget to like and subscribe to it. I do have a new Discord where I'm putting my courses on there, or they're free courses. I just made little PDF files to go along with some of the videos that I made. So feel free to go to the Discord anytime you want. It'll be good. It'll be fun. I have an old Discord in the link, so I have to go back through all my videos and re-fix those ones. But for now, it'll be in the description right here. So feel free at any time to click it and follow. But that is going to be it for this episode of my live writing stream. If you have any questions or comments, you can always comment below. Email me at creativewritinglessons.vdm@gmail.com. I'm always there. If not, hit Discord. I'm always on my Discord as well. I have it on my phone, so go ahead. It's in the chat right there. So take a look, follow. It's a new one, so I know I had some other people log into the old one, but I deleted the old ones and made this new one because it's a little easier for me to manage. I don't have to go do this member stuff. It's all free. I don't need members and rules, so this one's good. So I really do hope you guys enjoyed this. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, so I can continue making this amazing content. And I will see you guys on my next video or my next live. Thanks, guys. Love you 3000. And my comic book characters, my little short story I wrote for them here, they're going to be on tumblers and shirts. The way they transition from scenes is they put that white gap. So what would this person do? They woke up in blood, wash it off. World building definitely is hard, depend on what genre you're in. And my comic book characters, my little short story I wrote for them here, they're going to be on tumblers and shirts. The way they transition from scenes is they put that white gap. So what would this person do? They woke up in blood, wash it off. World building definitely is hard, depend on what genre you're in. And my comic book characters, my little short story I wrote for them here, they're going to be on tumblers and shirts. The way they transition from scenes is they put that white gap. So what would this person do? They woke up in blood, wash it off. World building definitely is hard, depend on what genre you're in. And my comic book characters, my little short story I wrote for them here, they're going to be on tumblers and shirts. The way they transition